Have you ever wondered how deep tech companies actually start? Well, we were too.
So in this podcast, we'll be interviewing scientists and entrepreneurs that have taken their ideas out of the lab and turned them into startups. I'm Antonia.
And I'm Christina, and this is Startup the Science.
This podcast is brought to you by IDUN Berlin, the Innovation Network for Advanced Materials, bringing together the brightest minds in material science. Visit us at idun.berlin.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to episode 4 of season 2 of Startup the Science. Today's episode features the ladies of IDUN Technologies. Severine and Katya were here in Berlin for the 2019 ADMACOM program, and that's when we recorded this, so we're really excited to share this episode with you. IDUN is doing some really cool things in the wearable space. It's incredibly futuristic and cutting edge. However, it occurred to us while we were recording this episode, and also when I was listening back to the episode, that it's really difficult to explain or describe a wearable in a podcast. So, if you're a visual person like me, or if you are just curious, or if you're a wearables fan, maybe, I highly recommend going to their website. It's iduntechnologies.ch, and I'll leave it in the description of the podcast as well. Go there, have a look at their Dryodes. If you have a little extra time, see what they're doing in the sports world as well as research. Their video of the free diver is really, really cool, so I highly recommend that. And with that, here is our conversation with Severine and Katya of IDUN Technologies. We hope you enjoy. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to our podcast. It's nice to have you here today. How are you?
Good, thank you. And thank you for having us here today.
All right, so let's dive right in. What is the problem that your technology is solving?
So the problem that we are solving is that long-term monitoring of the body is still quite uncomfortable. If you want to have good signals, like in the clinics, for example. So we are solving this problem and enabling really good long-term monitoring.
Yeah, it's like a combination of good signal quality and comfortable electrode.
So long-term monitoring, what are we monitoring?
The very classical monitoring would be the heart monitoring. Anything that happens with the heart, if you want to prevent heart attacks. So preventing heart attacks in the wearable space, heart monitoring has been very used for stress monitoring. But we are also quite active in brain monitoring. So this goes from epileptic seizure monitoring to neurotechnologies to scroll your screen with your brain, for example.
So it could be used for preventing all sorts of medical conditions, but it could also be used in more
like lifestyle?
Fun way?
Yeah, lifestyle applications, yes.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you could picture like a device where you can read on your phone your stress level, maybe your emotions, so on.
So essentially, you have a product that has a whole bunch of applications, from medical technology to lifestyle to anything else where sensors would make sense. Is that more or less accurate?
Yes, it's platform technology, yeah.
All right. So tell us more about that. What exactly is the technology, as much as you can share?
So the technology lies very much into the materials, so how conductive they are, how soft they are, how they can adapt to the skin. So the skin is a very difficult substrate. Everyone is a bit different. It depends on the day. So it's a combination of know-how of the skin electrical interface, but also on the mechanical interface, such that not just the electrodes or the skin interface is good, but also how you integrate it in a device so that you reduce noise, reduce movement artifacts. But a lot is into materials, how you combine materials to have those USPs.
So we've seen your products, so we know what they look like, but because this is a podcast, we can't really, we could attach a photo or something. But can you maybe describe what your products look like for our listeners?
You can think of silicone, but it's like a rubber, like a very soft rubber. You can think of that. And there is a part of it which has just a different color because it's conductive. So It's a very soft rubber that you can apply on the body, kind of, if that makes sense.
It's a very nice material.
It's like a flat little patch that is shaped like an avocado, more or less, and where the seed would be of the avocado, there the conductive material is. So we have it as internal code name avocado.
Now we know your secrets.
All our trademarks.
So you've explained it very well, especially for the more technical people that might listen to us. But what exactly could we do with it? So we have this little sensor in a very nice to the touch material, and then you could apply it to your skin. And what will be some potential applications of it? I know you have a nice video with a guy diving in a very deep pool. What is he monitoring in this case?
So in this area, we are monitoring his heart. So we are doing an ECG on him. And this video specifically that we did with Red Bull is monitoring the heart of a free diver. So those are people who don't breathe when they're going underwater for 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes. And the heart physiology is extremely interesting because they have to really slow themselves down so that they can stay that long underwater. And there is no data currently on ECG for underwater monitoring, so we are very much into exploring the heart physiology underwater.
And how is your technology better than other ways of monitoring, let's say in this example of free divers' heartbeat?
Yeah, so for the divers, I think you could call us pioneers in this area. As of now, I think nobody could measure the heart rate of a free diver or any diver underwater, So our technology and our material, our electrodes that we make from our material enable us to do that.
That's amazing. And you don't have to disclose too much as you're happy with. But what makes what makes that possible? How come you can do that and no one else has done it before?
So the standard electrodes that you know, maybe from hospital, from doctors' offices, are with a gel. So an electrolyte gel is used to increase the contact area from the electrode to the skin. And we are making dry electrodes, so that means we have no gel. If you imagine you have this gel type electrode on a diver who goes into the water, the gel will be washed away very quickly by the water. And since we don't rely on that gel, we can still measure underwater. So that's great.
So because of the material you use, the silicone-like material, that removes the necessity for the gel? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Because it's a very soft interface, you don't need the gel to have a high signal quality.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, you develop both the sensors and the material.
Yeah, that's right.
2 in 1 at ETH. That explains the technologies in the ETH Technologies. So I think we got a bit too excited and talked straight up about the technology.
I do have maybe a silly question, and maybe it's sitting right in front of my face and I have no idea.
Those are the best.
What does IDUN stand for?
That's a good question.
So Idun is the Germanic goddess of immortality.
Not so obvious.
Okay, good.
We started with this name. I mean, my co-founder, he's German, so I think he got excited about German goddess. And we started with this name and it kind of stuck. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, we thought it stood for something. Like they were...
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we were thinking, okay, how could we make it an acronym intelligent device
underwater.
I don't know why.
Under something.
But no, it's the German goddess of immortality.
It's a good conversation starter.
Okay, cool. Oh, but speaking of your co-founder, maybe you can talk a little bit more about your team and maybe the beginnings of IDUN.
Yeah, you could also introduce yourselves, which I forgot.
Yeah, so I am the co-founder of IDUN Technologies. My personal co-founder, he's not here today, but I'm here with Katja, and I think she should explain what she's doing first.
Yeah, so I'm Katja. I have a background in polymer chemistry, and at IDUN, I am responsible for material development and product development. And production of samples. We do a lot of in-house testing. Sometimes I supervise the testings. Yeah, so.
Nice. And who did you leave at home and didn't bring to Berlin with you?
So Simon, he's my co-founder. We both actually studied together, but really ignored each other during a whole bachelor. We didn't know we existed.
Which one of you was the cool kid? Ignoring
We
the other
both
one?
were,
You
just
were both.
not in the same areas.
Different kinds of cool. Okay.
No, no, I'm not gonna say it. He's gonna be pissed at me. So I think we were both cool, just ignored each other because we were so cool.
That's what cool kids do.
Yeah, that's what cool kids do. But we started talking together between the bachelor and the master at an open air music festival. So
Where all
it's kind of how
businesses
it started. And he told me, he's doing this entrepreneurship course in September when the semester starts. I'm like, I'm coming. I always wanting to do something or have a project on my own. And we clicked very fast, I think, on the vision level and humor level. We really laugh a lot, but he's very funny also.
Yeah.
He's a really funny guy. And that's how we started. And then we had the whole master to develop the technology. So we split the development of the technology. I was really into the materials and structuring the materials. And he went on testing it in real life. So the whole underwater testing, everything he did. And
that's how it started.
Yeah. And then, at some point you're like, okay, we're going to, it's quite clear that you're going to found the company. And 6 months after the master thesis, we founded the company.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
So really the main lesson is do not ignore the other cool kids in your class.
Or just wait until they're ready.
When you feel like they're ready to start a company, just go for it.
Guys just take a little bit longer to be ready. To grow up,
That's why female co-founders are the best.
That's right.
All right. So it was the two of you at the beginning, and now you have a pretty big team, actually. How many are you in total?
So right now we are 8 people. We have, out of those 8 people, 2 are just for, one is just for a short period with us, and 1 is part-time. And we are hiring 2 new people, so we're gonna be around 9 to 10 people.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Because sometimes we talk to startups that have, 1 person or maybe 2, and that's where they want to get. So well done.
Thank you.
Family is growing.
Yeah. Thank you, investors.
So speaking of investors, was it hard to find people that would trust you enough to give you money?
I would say, so we're doing the second financing round right now. So the first one, I wouldn't say it was hard. It was more, it's a long process. It takes time. So I think you should have at least 6 months to 9 months time to really have the money on your account. But the first one is really more about, do you like each other's more than anything else? We like all of our investors, and I think they like us. So that was a good starting point. We also had quite a lot of money from family and friends, so that helped also. It's sometimes emotionally a bit complicated, but it helped. And the second round, I would say the older you get, the less it's about really how much they like you. I mean, it's definitely important, but it's also like, okay, how are you making money? And if it's too wishy-washy, if it's not so clear, then it's like, okay, maybe come later. So VCs, they really want to see the commercialization strategy, I'd say. So that gets a bit harder if you're still like working on your business model or shifting markets.
Yeah, things are not clear.
Yeah.
So because you mentioned in the beginning your product could have a lot of different markets and applications, and now you just mentioned you need to have a clear focus to get investors on board. What's the clear focus that you currently have? What are your first markets? What are you doing first?
We are launching our first product in November.
That's so soon. That's next month.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's the first
it's
product?
pretty exciting. It's like having a baby, more or less.
Did it also take 10 months, 9 months to make?
Yeah, hard times. Yeah, so this product is launching, as I said, in November. This is for the research market. Can I say market? I'm not sure. So it's aimed at researchers at research facilities and also at research departments of companies. It's just our most simple design that we have. It's just a flat avocado. And they can integrate it into their devices how they want. Yeah, this is at the moment the focus, but of course we will not be stopping there.
So we have 3 markets that, we are not targeting them all at the same time, but we have the sleep brain market, or like sleep EEG market. I'm just not going to say EEG too much because sometimes people don't know what this is. So sleep brain monitoring, because there you really need comfortable and high signal quality, because brain signals are very small. So the signal quality is very important, and you don't want to, if you want to sleep, you don't want to have something uncomfortable. So this is one important market for us. We have the underwater market because, as Katja mentioned, we're quite pioneering in this area. So this is for us like open opportunities. And we have a new focus, which is in-ear monitoring. So everything that you can measure from the ears, which it's a very good place to measure. And we have a Horizon 2020 research project. So I'm not going to put this as focus, but it's still a research part for us, which is on muscle stimulation. So for us, it's understanding how to change the materials that you can stimulate the tissues and record. This is also a very good market opportunity, but it's going to still need some research. So it's going to be a longer time focus, let's say.
If you were to tell us a bit more about one of these markets, let's say the first one, the brain sleep. So specifically, how would that work? You have the sensor, you're using it as a user. Are you wearing it at night to then monitor your brain activity during sleep? Or?
Yeah, so what is on the market right now? There are a few.
There's the Fitbit does that as well, or in a different way?
All the things that is done in the watches for sleep monitoring is on activities, how much you move. So it tells you, kind of gives you an estimate on your sleep quality, but just on how much you move. There is another company, a French one called Dream. They are like I would say the startup unicorn for sleep EEG. And so they record brainwaves activities. And so this is a headband. So headband is like the way people are going into. So you put a headband on, and then you have measurements of your brain activity during sleep. So you can see much better which phases you are into. So it's more accurate.
And is that comfortable to wear a headband? Well, we're not trying to say that they're not a good startup.
No, I haven't tried it, but I think they're not so bad, actually. They're really not so bad. Yeah.
And how would yours be placed on? Would you place it on your head directly, not with a headband, but by itself? It would stick to the skin.
So for the sleep EEG, we will need to integrate it in a textile. So this is like the technical material part for us, the integration in textiles. So what we are working on right now is like the proof of concept of how many of our electrodes do we need and how small they can be and where will they be placed. In the first iteration, we are going for a flat design, like the avocado design. So this is only places where it's not hairy. So you would have behind the ears, the forefront. And in a second iteration, we are working on different designs to go through the hair of the electrodes. Then you can imagine putting some add-ons for specific monitoring.
That is very interesting.
I'm just thinking about it, like imagining how it would look like, and so futuristic. So cool.
You are kind of in a market of the future.
Yeah, so that it's a good thing and it's a hard thing at the same time. So all our customers that we are working with, it's either startups or corporates that are working on the new applications. So put it that way, time to market is quite long.
And what about the very, very futuristic applications of it, where you mentioned in the beginning that you would, control the scrolling on your phone with your brain?
That's already happening.
That's already happening,
yes.
right?
There is
I'd like to believe it's happening somewhere in the distant future, but it's already happening, right? Yeah.
So there is this one company in New York where they have this device that you put on. It's a very nice device that you put on top of your motor cortex. So it's, let's say, upper part of your brain, and you train the software behind it, and then when it's trained you can really scroll the device or scroll with thinking. And they have a very nice video. So actually a girl is cooking, she's baking, so her hands are she's just baking and she scrolls the recipe with her mind.
Oh my god.
And this works because we've tried it and it's quite interesting. amazing.
Is it scary as well, or just interesting?
It's amazing. I think it's amazing.
I think that's amazing too, because
yeah.
that's totally me in the kitchen. I can totally relate to this.
So I'm just wondering, I'm always fascinated by these technologies that start off with an example like that, like she's baking, her hands are dirty, it makes sense. And then if you dig a little deeper, there might be some applications that seem a little strange. Or I remember, for example, there was this debate around Google Glass when initially they were saying, well, it's great because you can walk around and take photos, and maybe you don't want to take out your phone and it's just easier. And then the problem was, yeah, but you could also take photos of, I don't know, strangers, and you get into this whole privacy concern issues, which are very big, especially in Germany. Are you worried at all about things like that in your technologies and any side effects? Maybe this is a weird question, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think because we wanted really to go, the first idea or why we did this were really to promote preventive medicine, and we said, okay, you don't feel sick, so if you want to wear something, it has to be comfortable, otherwise you're never going to go into preventive medicine. And there is like those insurance companies who are starting to get data from wearables, like if you want, it's not if you don't want to, but still, who are getting those data from wearable devices and saying, okay, if you keep healthy, you're gonna have reduction on your insurance prices. But I could also really imagine if you have a very accurate signals and you can really see trends, that insurance company maybe at some point can say, okay, you're really at high risk of having something, we are not insuring you anymore. So I think that's going to be a problem. But it's also a problem that I think politics has to take care of. That has to be something more on a national level, how to treat those data. But yeah, theoretically we could enable really trend reading in a person.
But the intention is obviously to prevent health problems from popping up, such as heart attacks, and then you would know in advance that you're at risk and you would take action. That makes sense. Great. Well, that was very interesting, and thank you so much for sharing as much as you did with us. We usually ask everyone on our podcast at the end if they have one wish, one desire they want to throw into the universe. Maybe someone out there listening could help. What would that desire be? Talking about IDUN, not like any desire you have. Or you can also, I guess, mention some personal stuff.
Yeah, I think different things, like very concrete. One would be investment. So we are still open for 1 million for our convertible note, and it would be nice to have investors that have a background either in production or going into those markets. That would be great. So also something that we learn at INAM, but that we're really considering is this pilot production. I mean, we have a prototype production, let's put it that way, at our facility in Zurich. But we will be thinking very through a pilot production. So having someone that has experience on building up a pilot production, who wants to work in a pilot production phase or wants to give money for a product production.
So either knowledge or money is what you're looking for.
Yeah, knowledge or money.
Makes sense, yeah.
It's time we don't have. So it's going to be knowledge or money, yeah.
That sounds great.
And lastly, would you like to plug your website, any social media, anything like that?
Yes, so we have a very new website, so check that out. It's
It's really cool.
IDUN Technologies.ch, and we are putting all the news out there. So yeah, check this one out.
Cool.
Thank you both so much for being with us today, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to Startup the Science.
If you like our show and want to know more about what we do, check out our website at inam.berlin.
And don't forget to leave us a review. Until next time.